Good morning, everyone, to the first session. How's everyone feeling today? How are the ladies feeling today? Let's hear a huge round of applause for our special guests, Shambhavi and Basuri. Basuri, let me start with you. You know, you're an accomplished lawyer by profession, but I was reading sometime in May where you said that politics was not your first choice as a profession. And I found that very surprising because Sushma Swaraj ji, she was a force to be reckoned with. She was a stalwart in Indian politics. And you were surrounded by politics in your growing years. Why was politics not your first choice as your career?
Thank you so much for inviting me here. And I must begin with a confession. I'm elated to actually be sharing the stage with Shambhavi. I'm in awe of this girl. So the reason why politics was never my first choice is because I had a very normal upbringing. My parents, I think, made a very deliberate attempt to insulate me from the world of politics. And I had a very normal upbringing where, shout out to Vasant Valley School and to my amazing teachers who ensured that I was very grounded.
Yes.
And I think there was a very clear message. Ma said, "Kuch bhi karne se pehle apna wajood banana bahut zaruri hai." And politics is not a profession. It's actually a medium for serving the nation. Law is my profession. And even till date, now that I'm very grateful to the people of New Delhi for having chosen Bhajpa, and by virtue of which I have now been graced with the opportunity and bestowed with the opportunity and the responsibility of serving the constituency. Politics still is not my profession. Law continues to be my profession.
Fair enough. And let me ask you then, Shambhavi, is it true that you actually did appear for UPSC, you had those aspirations, and if not politics, would you have pursued a career in civil services? Why did you choose politics? Is it because of your family? Because your family has also been in politics for the last 50 years. You're a third generation politician. Yeah. So what inspired you then?
First of all, good morning to everyone here. Thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity to talk about women, empowerment of women, and like Basuri said, I'm equally elated to share the stage with her and have such a wonderful anchor. About UPSC, yes, I come from Bihar. And
yes.
We are social conditioned into believing that UPSC is our end goal, and that's where we have to reach. But if you ask me, then if I was not into politics, I would have done something in the education line. I was already working as a director in a school in Bihar, and I was working towards the education of young girls. And I think education is a powerful tool that can transform lives, and we don't emphasize enough on that. So definitely, if not politics, I would have done that. But ever since childhood, I had it in me. I saw my father, I saw my grandfather serve the people of their constituency, and when I was young, I was like, when I grow up, I want to be something like them. I want to grow up and help people. I want to be at a place where, I can change lives. I can impact lives. I can transform the society. That's what I wanted to do. So, yeah, and like Basuri said, politics is not profession. It's a way of life. You have to give yourself in. And when it's politics, it's not like, okay, I'm working 9 to 5. You have to work every day, every minute, every second, and you have to live up to your people's expectations.
Oh, absolutely. It goes beyond 24 hours. Now, I wanted to ask both of you, and Basuri, you can take the lead on this. So, now that you've taken the plunge, how have you been able to navigate the very demanding landscape of Parliament? When the challenges that you face there inside Parliament, constituency is another challenge to take on. But inside Parliament, is it family experience, mentorship? How do you tackle those challenges as a first-time MP?
I think the credit goes to my profession. Because with a experience about 17 years plus of litigation, especially before the Honorable Supreme Court of India, that I think is something that I keep sort of relying on and going back to. Otherwise, of course, and you learn on the job, and I'm very grateful to my leadership. I'm very grateful that we have very experienced parliamentarians that we can sort of go and pick their brains, and we do that. And somewhere I'm very lucky to have colleagues like Shambhavi, where we can sort of over a cup of coffee decide to collaborate, have a brainstorming session and discuss things.
But is there anything that has taken you by surprise?
The decibel levels.
Shambhavi, what about you?
No, I think inside the parliament everyone is very cordial. I mean, there is no patriarchy inside the parliament. But definitely, like I always say, to be here, I didn't just contest elections. I fought patriarchy first. I fought misogynists. I fought stereotypes. And then I reached here, you know. But it was very evident during the election campaign. I think a lot of women who were contesting must have faced it. I come from Bihar, and you know, people over there, we have a concept of Mukhiya Pati, Sansad Pati, Vidhayak Pati, where women are actually the elected leaders, but the powers are with their husbands or fathers. So, you know, I did combat those stereotypes in the election campaign, and casually people would say कि अरे अरे कोई बात नहीं, आप इनको जिता दीजिए, मतलब इनके पति है, इनके पापा. I was like, no, I'm here for myself. I'm fighting, and you have to elect me. So that's something that you know, that was something that I fought.
No, I can imagine, you know.
I must say credit where it's due when it comes to parliament, and I know that Shambhaji will agree with me. I think the Honorable Speaker Om Birla ji is very conscientious of this aspect. He gives a lot of opportunity to first-time MPs and especially to women MPs. And I think credit where it's due. So I'm very grateful to him as well for giving us the opportunity.
Correct. And he also remembers, like, he will know how many times you've spoken. So, like, if I meet him casually in the corridor, he'll be like, oh, you got a lot of chance this time. I said, yeah.
Oh, that's refreshing and very wonderful to hear. But Basri, still, you know, women constitute only 13.6% of members in parliament. And though we are seeing more and more women entering electoral politics, I think the representation is abysmally low. When do you think 33% will become a reality? Because in UK, if I'm not mistaken, we still have 40% women parliamentarians. In South Africa, it's 45%. When do you think we can reach that?
18th Lok Sabha is the last Lok Sabha to have this level of representation. The 19th Lok Sabha is going to see 33% reservation because of the Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam brought in by the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi and the NDA government.
That's a very big announcement there,
Of course.
Basri.
But it's something which is there in the pipelines because आप देख लीजिए अभी जनगणना होने वाली है, population census is going to happen, उसके बाद delimitation या परिसीमन होगा, and उसके बाद स्वाभाविक है कि ये अधिनियम जो है वो लागू होगा.
That's interesting. Shambhavi, in your social media bio, you present yourself as the Gen Z member of parliament. And I found that very fascinating. Because even I'm trying to find out what does Gen Z need? What are their, you know, aspirations? So as a Gen Z member of parliament, what are some of their views? What are their political concerns, their political aspirations? And what is the change that they are looking for in politics today?
I think all Gen Zs just want equal opportunities, regardless of the caste, the gender, the class they come from. They want social justice. They want equal strength to, you know, they want equal strength from the society to believe in their dreams. And, you know, I think Gen Z is a term that describes people who have new ideas, new hopes, and new energy, and they want to channelize that energy in making this world a better, more peaceful, you know, a better space for everybody. And this is your physical strength, your emotional strength, your mental strength. And I think all Gen Z people deserve equal rights in whatever sphere they choose.
But they're very strongly opinionated as well, this generation. So it does.
I don't think there should be a problem with having strong opinions. I mean, when is strong opinion a problem?
Never. And when you have an MP like her, bring it on. Basri, I have to ask you this political question. Just very recently, Mr. Rahul Gandhi was in the US and he did quote a lot of controversy with a couple of statements. I'm going to quote him here. He said that the BJP and the RSS believe that women should be restricted to a particular role. They should stay at home. They should cook the food. They should not talk too much. As a woman BJP leader, subscribing to the RSS ideology, and today we are celebrating Shri Shakti, today we are celebrating women, today we are celebrating each one of us. How do you respond to a statement like this?
This is what happens when your research team is so weak that you end up propagating false propaganda. And I must call Mr. Rahul Gandhi out for this particular aspect. There are two aspects to it. First, जहां तक RSS और भाजपा का सवाल है, I stand tall on the shoulders of the women who came before me and who broke the proverbial glass ceiling. People like Smriti Irani ji, people like Nirmala Sitharaman ji, people like Sushma Swaraj ji, people like Vijaya Radhe Scindia ji, who actually came and paved the path for us. Then nothing can be further away from the truth. You know that Prime Minister Modi was the first Prime Minister of the country to have not one but two women as part of the CCS. Both Nirmala Sitharaman ji as well as Sushma Swaraj ji. Second, largest number of women ministers in the cabinet are under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi. मैं खुद बहुत स्वाभिमान से कहती हूं और बहुत गर्व से कहती हूं कि मैं एक संघी हूं. संघ के संस्कार मेरी रगों में दौड़ते हैं. मैं भाजपाई हूं. लेकिन क्या आपको लगता है कि संघ रिग्रेसिव है? अगर वो होता तो मैं यहां कैसे बैठती?
तो क्या गलतफहमी है? बात
गलतफहमी नहीं है.
कांग्रेस को क्या गलतफहमी है आरएसएस के बारे में?
मैं आपको सच बता रही हूं. गलतफहमी नहीं है, भय है. राष्ट्रवादी विचारधारा का मानवीय रूप है भाजपा और संघ. और एक बात आपके इस मंच से मैं नेता प्रतिपक्ष माननीय राहुल गांधी जी को जरूर कहूंगी. महाभारत में एक प्रसंग आता है जहां पर पांडव और कौरवों में वैसे एक सिविल वॉर थी, लेकिन जब बाहर का कोई आ जाता है तो कौरवों का साथ दिया था पांडवों में. और तब युधिष्ठिर ने कहा था वयम पंचाधिशतकम, हम 105 हैं. वैसे हम 5 हैं और तुम 100 कौरव हो, लेकिन अगर बाहर का कोई आ जाए तो हम 105 भाई हैं. और ये बात हमारी भारतीयता में निहित है. राहुल गांधी जी को ये बात समझनी चाहिए. कब कब कितनी बार जाकर विदेशी मंचों पर वो भारत की गरिमा को इस तरह गिराते रहेंगे. अरे बाहर जा रहे तो भारतीय बनिए, वहां पर तो वयम पंचाधिशतकम का आपको भी नीति उसको अपनानी चाहिए.
Well said. I mean, the kind of controversy that we have been seeing ever since he's gone to the US and come back now is something for all to see. And that's why I really wanted to ask you about that statement that he had made.
You cannot allow your political interests and selfish interests to subserve national interests. That is just not allowed. That is just not done.
Shambhavi, I want to ask you, you're the first woman MP from Samastipur. And, you know, that is creditable. I want to ask you, how are you going to inspire and uplift women, especially from the marginalized communities, through your leadership?
So like I said, I'm focusing on education, and during my campaign, I focused on infrastructure. Education, like I've launched a new campaign in my constituency that says Padhega Samastipur, Badhega Samastipur, where we are going to different villages, not panchayats also, like at the village level we are working, and we are going there, we are promoting education and reading books. So I'm focusing on that because sometimes women are not, especially young girls, are not given enough resources to complete education. So that's where we, you know, go give them notebooks, storybooks, we read out to them. We have, whenever I go, I read stories with them. So that's what I do. Other than that, I'm focusing on infrastructure because it's important to have create a safe space for women to commute, to travel, to go to their educational institutions or workplaces. So Samastipur lacks in infrastructure a little bit, and that is their main focus. That is what they were demanding also. So better roads, better connectivity, that is what I'm focusing on. I'm focusing on the health of women. I go to primary health centers and, you know, there are not enough female doctors, so I'm working on that. We promote hygiene in women. We promote sanitation in women. Whenever I go, I talk to them about their health, about what they should be doing. And for women especially, if you ask me, I think whenever I go, I talk to them with a free mind, with a free spirit, and I encourage whatever they want to do. And, you know, I think that's what really moved me during the campaign also, and still does, it's when young girls come up to me and, you know, for selfies, and they just want to talk to me.
True.
And, you know, they say that, you know, I want to be I want to be someone like you because you're so strong. And, you know, that is something that really uplifts my spirit. And I'm like, maybe I'm doing something right, that, you know, there are so many girls who are coming out now, who are participating in all these activities, who are being seen now. And, you know, they tell me that Samastipur is now a better, safer place because we have a woman MP. So I think things start changing.
No, and you are their powerful voice.
Yeah.
But as you said in the beginning, Bihar also has a tradition of very strong patriarchal politics.
Correct.
How do you navigate gender biases in the landscape, and how are you going to use your position to ensure that more and more women actually enter politics?
See, you know, you have to take very small steps. So I noticed one thing, that during the campaign, okay, this is a little story, but during the campaign, when you go visit somebody's place, only the men would come out and the women would stay inside. They will not talk to you. And the Mukhia is a woman, but she will not come out in the courtyard and meet you. You're supposed to go inside and meet them, interact with them. So this is how they're restricted, confined in a small space. But when I go, when there is a woman contested, a woman in their homes, then, you know, you tell them ki aap apni unko bulao, wife ko, ya aap apni beti ko bulao. Then they'll slowly start coming out. So I think that's a small step, but that's how it starts. Whenever I go for a function, now there are women sitting, because I am a woman MP, so they have to call some woman over there. And you know, I think by just simply being myself, simply just you know, being strong, and simply just being courageous enough to, you know, advocate for their rights. Well, I will blatantly ask that why are there no women here? You know, and then they have to involve them. It starts with involvement, and then the little involvement also goes a long way.
Well, I hope you bring about that change in Bihar politics. Basuri, you know, the Justice Hema Committee report was a damning indictment of discrimination, sexual harassment, and has rocked the Malayalam film industry. I had to ask you this because, you know, we have seen the uproar, the outrage over the RG Kar unfortunate rape case. Now, we're seeing again the Me Too movement resurfacing. More and more women feel more emboldened, empowered. The President, Draupadi Murmu, just spoke about it. She has condemned it. She's saying enough is enough, and mindsets need to be changed to, you know, correct this perversion. When will our women feel safe, Basuri? When will that time come?
The reality is that it is an ongoing movement. The women empowerment movement, it is not a movement, it is something that is, it's a sanskar. It's something that needs to actually continue. And I think women need to shoulder the responsibility of paying it forward and empowering other women. I look across the room, I see you, I see Sonal ji, I see Rubika ji in the audience. And I know that this is, I would say, an absolute illustration of women empowerment in the media industry. The fact that Shambhavi ji is here, it shows that Bihar is ready for change. The fact that I am here, it shows that the legal fraternity is already empowered and on its path. But I think as far as government endeavors are considered, the government is taking a very, very proactive approach. Something like Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. It is a huge social movement, and you see the impact on the ground. I was recently in Haryana for election campaign, and the statistics there were so encouraging. Haryana, as you know, had a very grave problem of female feticide and female infanticide. But I'm so happy to see that Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao is so empowering that now, where it was 817 boys to every 817 girls to every 1,000 boys, the statistics are already 917 to every 1,000 boys.
Right.
You see Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, you see that 55% of bank accounts belong to women. Under Stand Up India, you have 84% loans being given to women for their startup endeavors. That kind of, I would say, social empowerment, economic empowerment, and of course Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam, which brings about political empowerment. It needs to be a combination of these three, because women need to become participants in policy making.
Absolutely.
And I think जब आप नीति निर्माण में महिला की भूमिका ले आएंगे तो भारत की भाग्य विधाता फिर नारी अपने आप वैसे ही बन जाएगी.
I have to wrap up, but just very quickly, you know, Sushma Swaraj, she represented the quintessential spirit of Shakti. I have had the pleasure of interviewing her. Basuri, she was an uncompromising leader who stuck to her guns. थोड़े शब्द अगर आप शक्ति के बारे में कुछ बोल सकते हैं as we wrap up.
शक्ति के बारे में नहीं, शक्ति का आवाहन जरूर करूंगी. और शक्ति को यही कहूंगी, आखिर क्यों करके एक फिल्म थी, स्मिता पाटिल सुषमा जी की फेवरेट एक्टर थी. तो उनका एक गाना है, उसका एक फिल्म का एक गाना है, कोमल है कमजोर नहीं तू, शक्ति का नाम ही नारी है. तो मैं आज शक्ति का यहां बैठ के आवाहन करूंगी कि देखिए, हम अर्धनारेश्वर का देश हैं. हमारे यहां तो जन्मजात इक्वालिटी थी. ये तो हमारी संस्कृति का अपभ्रंश हुआ जब हमलावर आ गए. इसीलिए अब समय आ गया है कि नारी शक्ति अपने अंदर की वो शक्ति पहचान कर खुद ही को इतना ज्यादा एम्पावर करे, वो जिम्मेदारी उठाए. कहते हैं ना, खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदी से ये पूछे, बता तेरी रजा क्या है.
Let's have a huge round of applause for our very Shaktishali guests, Shambhavi and Basuri. Such a pleasure. Thank you both so much.
All right then. Ladies and gentlemen, come on. We can do better than that. That was a lovely session.